for the fellowship and for the gathering of these business-minded personnel here. We ask that you would strengthen us, restore, and inspire us with your love. Lord, would you fill us with your peace so that we, as we journey here, we would pour out your love and grace to others. We ask that in all Heavenly Father's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, James. Good.
Good morning. We'll go over our list of visitors for today. First, we'll hear from City County Emergency Management Agency, then Chief Administrator from the DA's Office, Michael Burdell, Director of Elections, Darrell Parker, CEO Kimberly Giffen with DBE Consulting, and Business Consultant Gerard Jeter with Alabama Fresh, Director Sherry Bradley with the Alabama Health Department Bureau of Environmental Services, Vice President of Development Becky Saunders with Liberty Learning Foundation, and Miss Alicia Koch with the Montgomery Lions Club. First, we will hear from Ms. Janiza Johnson, who's here to speak for Christie.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Janiza Johnson. I am the EMA planner for Montgomery City County EMA. First, I'm going to start off with the COVID-19 case report. We have 55,357 confirmed COVID-19 cases. There have been 948 COVID-related deaths, and Montgomery County is listed now as a high risk of community transmission. As far as the vaccine report, there have been 271, 89,000 COVID-19 vaccines administered. Of those vaccines, 57.94% have received at least one dose, and 46.20% have been fully vaccinated. Despite COVID, EMA is trying to continuously work towards getting back to a sense of normalcy and participating in activities that keep citizens prepared. Last week, we participated in the WSFA weather event, in which we passed out information about emergency preparedness, and there were 50 weather radios sold, and we also helped program those weather radios for citizens. Also, we have been working on our community emergency response team training. We have 2 classes that come up June 3rd and June 10th. And also tomorrow we'll be participating in a Zoom with the Family Guidance Center that talks about emergency preparedness for families. Any questions?
So you mentioned that Montgomery is high risk again for the spread of COVID. Is that because the immunity that was acquired or from the vaccine is waning?
I'm not sure. I don't want to give any exact information of why that is. I'm not sure if it's just maybe a pickup of everybody kind of feeling like that it's time for them to get back out there and vacation and things like that. But I'll just say, please continue to wear your mask and please get vaccinated if you haven't. Any more questions, comments, concerns?
Thank you. You
All
good.
right. Thank you.
Next, we'll go over the items to be considered during the formal session. We will start with 2 public hearings on alcohol licenses. Then we will consider an alcohol license application for a Latino festival on May 21st and June 4th. Consider the transfer of an alcohol license business from Tiger's Pride Market to AVI 2022. Consider a resolution to approve the East Alabama Regional Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan Phase 2. Consider a resolution to allocate American Rescue Plan Act funds for the Crisis Diversion Center and body cameras. Consider board member appointment to the Joint Public Charity Hospital Board. Consider board member appointments to the Montgomery City County Public Library Board. Consider board member reappointments to the Montgomery County Public Building Authority. Consider board member reappointments to the Community Punishment and Corrections Authority. Consider a grant application to the State Finance Office for Emergency Medical Services. Consider a grant application for the 2022 Bulletproof Vest Grant. Consider renewal of the Mike Green Tower Site Permit Agreement. Consider miscellaneous appropriations to agencies. Are there any additions? It is 16. Not at this time.
5,000 to do that in the YMCA.
Are there any other additions? Consider miscellaneous appropriations to education.
5,000 to Lanier High School band.
Anything else? Consider miscellaneous appropriations from designated revenue.
I have two, Florence. 2,000 to One Place Family Justice Center.
Is that designated for anything in particular or
No.
just general operations?
General operations, please. And another 2,000 to Midtown YMCA for the summer sport camp.
Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I gave you something this morning. Common Ground and Mercy House are combining this summer to provide a summer camp for the kids of West Montgomery. For the kids of West Montgomery and the Washington Park area. They're looking to accommodate between 100 and 120 kids. And they want to do it all, they want to do it all at no charge to the families that are doing this. I know we can't do it all, but I'd like for us to try to do something to help. The estimated cost is $60 a week for these kids, which amounts to $500 per kid. At 120, that's about $60,000. We can't do that, but I'd like to see us do something from the joint and something individually. I'd start it off. I'd do 10,000 from my donated to help.
Is the
That'll get
rest,
it started.
rest of the commission okay with doing, to match that individual donation with 10,000 from the joint for a total of 20
I'm okay
from the
with that.
commission?
I'm okay with that.
You okay with that? All right.
Florence, I have a request, and this would be more for next year than this year since it's May, so this isn't a quick turnaround, but we have a lot of summer programming in Montgomery, some really good programs, and they all seek out help from the commission. I would like an exhaustive list of all of this type of summer programming, whether it's YMCA, Brain Forest, this program that we just mentioned, all of the opportunities in Montgomery, and I know that's going to be a big list, whether they ask us for money or not. And again, not for reference for this summer, but that might even be a student intern project for this summer to put that list together. So going into next year, we're better equipped with how we can appropriate monies.
So Florence, on Common Ground Montgomery, it'll be 10,000 from the joint and 10,000 from Commissioner Harris.
All right, and is that payable to Common Ground or
Common
Mercy?
Ground
Common
Montgomery.
Ground is making a request,
Okay,
but it's a joint program. They're combining it.
the letterhead's from Common Ground, so we'll make it to Common Ground.
Okay. Anything else? Next is a bid award to Mid-South Paving, Inc.
What other? And I think this is a late request from ASU SkyCap. I don't think they've been active for, I know last year, maybe the year before, but I just got this text. I guess they've been overwhelmed with requests to restart the program, and they want to get it restarted this year. We've helped them in the past. Teresa, you have any idea what have we done for them before?
She's researching it now.
That's one of the premier summer programs for young people in the city. The ranges, I mean, they do everything over there for the kids. And I know we've helped them in the past, and I'd like to see us do something this year. I think it starts, let's see. I don't have a start date, but it starts in June, so if we're going to do anything, this is probably the meeting to consider it.
Teresa just sent me a list. In March of 2020, it was $20,000 from joint. In June of 2018, $7,500 from joint. February of 18, $10,000 from joint, $1,500 from Commissioner Sankey, and then again another $1,000 from Commissioner Sankey in June of 2018.
Well, whatever we can do for joint out, I'm willing to kick in some from my donated, but I'd like to see us do something to help.
What if we did 5 from joint, and then, I know Chairman Dean, this is dear to his heart, and so I would do 5 from Chairman Dean's designated balance for a total of 10, and then if anybody else wants to add to that individually.
Well, I'd do 5 from mine.
Okay, so Florence, it'll be 5 from the joint, 5 from designated balance for Commissioner Dean's designated balance, and then 5 from Commissioner Harris's agency or designated?
Designated.
Okay.
All right,
You got that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that's what, total what?
15.
15.
Can I get another 5?
Auctioneer.
I like that. 5 from my designated, please.
Thank you, Commissioner Sankey.
You're welcome, sir.
Next time I have a charity auction, I'm gonna hire Dan Harris.
I got 20.
It's really a good program.
It is, yeah.
I know.
Consider a bid award to Mid-South Paving for plant mix. Consider a bid award to Mid-South Paving for high-performance asphalt cold patch. Consider budget change request number 11 for engineering. Consider budget change request numbers 5 and 6 for the probate judge's office. Consider position fill request for 4 corrections officer trainees. Consider a position fill request for the engineering department for a county road equipment operator 3. Consider position fill request for the sheriff's office for 2 deputy sheriff trainees. Consider travel training requests for appraisal, county commission, personnel, and the sheriff's office. That's all of our items for the agenda. Now, Michael Burdell from the District Attorney's Office will present item number 1, a waived rule item.
Good morning, Commissioners. Nationwide, the IRS is implementing some new confidentiality guidelines for child support enforcement units that make use of federal tax information. The Alabama Department of Human Resources, with whom the county contracts for the child support enforcement work that the District Attorney's Office does, is requesting a revision of the current 3-year contract under which we're operating. It's a mere formality, but
It's automatic, yeah.
coming from DC.
Any significant changes?
Not really, just saying that anyone that's in a child support enforcement office unit has to be cleared before they can have access to this federal tax information, which those units use to attach refunds from delinquent non-custodial parents.
Okay.
So this will be a waive rule item.
Yes, sir, please.
Is there any objection to waiving rules today?
No, why so late, Michael?
This is from DHR. They notified us last week, and they were hopeful that they could get signed agreements from everyone statewide by May 31st.
Hopeful folks.
Pardon me?
They're very hopeful.
Government run. Last
I have
minute.
no comment.
We're not gonna hold you up.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Michael.
Next, we'll hear from Director of Elections Darrell Parker regarding items number 2 and 3.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
The two items we have to do with the emergency situation out at Covenant Ministries, which is 505 Precinct. They suffered storm damage. This was within the 90-day period prior to elections. And so we've had to move the election from that location across the street to the Essence Studio and Event Center. Now, this is, well, for this election and for the June runoff, definitely. But it may be a situation where we'll need to be there in November as well. We don't know at this point.
You got enough time for that?
Yes, sir.
You're talking about the May 24th?
Yes.
primary? And we are days away, and you're gonna be able to change it?
Well, yes, Commissioner Harrison. Under the Attorney General's opinion that we have the authority to, well, the county commission has the authority to remove a precinct in the case of emergency situation. And we had looked at a number of options to try to keep it at the same location. But, you know, I think it went from $5,000 just to get an indoor tent out there without lights, without a generator, without AC, to $15,000 to get in a modular structure versus going and paying $500 to rent this event space. And we've gone to try to clear up the issues of voter confusion we've done a mailer that are going out to all of the, I think, 3,400 voters in that precinct. We're also going to do text message routes. We're also going to do robocalls to those voters there as well. And also trying to we're also on WSFA last week and also been on the radio. So we're trying to get the word out. And then on election day, we're going to have cones from that precinct, workers and staff out there directing people across the street. When you look at the map, it's directly across the street.
So it is directly across.
Yeah,
You
so-
can see it. I mean, you'll be.
So we've done, you know, it's not ideal, but, you know, we're saving, 90% of the cost of doing something that probably wasn't going to suit our needs, but getting something that would be more suitable for our voters. But we've
My
done what we
concern is
can
that
to
we're
try to
inside the
get it
federal
out there.
guidelines.
Yeah, so but we've tried to, but under the AG's opinion, it has to be approved by the county commission. And so we were in constant communication with Kendall and Florence and Doug as we were trying to find other means to try to hold it on site. But this seemed like it was better. The sheriff found this place for us, and it's right across the street, so it worked out well for us. Sorry, Darryl.
Yeah, we were really gonna do it on site with a tent, but you can imagine June, May, it's gonna be hot next week, but also in June, so, I think find a place across the street was the best. And we're gonna have staff there to make sure everybody that comes to the church realizes that it's right there in front of you, and, to make sure nobody has any problems, so.
Across the street.
So, that's a waive rules. Any objection to waiving rules on that one today?
No objection.
Okay. All right, second one, Darryl.
The second issue is change in the pay structure for the assistant director position so that we can get that position filled. There was each interviewee asked for a negotiation of the salary and because they felt it was just too low, and so we had to deal with that.
And my concern was I didn't really want to start the new person out higher than what the old person was in the job who had been there for 6 years. So we're starting out the new person right at where the old person was. And that's what you're proposing then?
Yes, that's what it was, and as Darrell said, that we had interviewed this Christopher, who formerly held that position, moved over to my office as Assistant Chief Clerk. I think we had 5 candidates that interviewed, and that was the issue of concern regarding the salary. You know, we brought that over to Carmen with personnel, and they conducted a desk audit of the position, and they're the ones who came up with the reclass, and so we're just asking approval just to be able to fill that position with the 2 elections that we know that are on the ballot this year, on the schedule this year.
So you're already interviewing,
Yes, we had initial 5, I think, yes.
and personnel has reviewed it, and
Yes, they did the study, and that was their recommendation.
Any objection to waiving rules?
I need to speak to, is Carmen on the phone here? Carmen's here? There you are. Hey, can you, I have a problem with this increase in salary for this assistant director position. Can you give us any insight as to how you made the determination that this was a legitimate thing to do, other than everybody wants more money? Because the current salary structure is between 45,000 and 68,000, and we're suggesting to raise it to between 57,000 and 85,000. Yeah, I'm just not supportive of that.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. We conducted a desk audit. We had some initial concerns come from the department once we established this register for them to review. When the department started interviewing the candidates, all of them had concerns about the salary, so they contacted our office and asked if there was something that could be done. I recommended at this point that they requested a desk audit be done. We conducted a desk audit. Our class and compensation personnel got involved. They reviewed it with other jurisdictions, found out that our structure is a little different from some of our comparator jurisdictions, and it was justified in raising it. There's also been some different aspects of the job that we weren't aware of, where the job has more supervisory responsibility than what we were aware of initially. So we made some minor modifications to the job description also to actually capture what the job is actually doing. But we did do a comparison to some of our comparable jurisdictions, and our structure is a little different based upon the functions we found out. Like if you compare us to Jefferson County, the city of Birmingham has their own elections director, where here in Montgomery, we do not. So some of the functions.
We don't have a director of elections?
Not in the city of Montgomery.
Not
no.
in the city, but for the county, that is the director of elections for city and county. And you're saying Birmingham separates out the two, but in this sense, Jefferson's really apples and oranges to us, right?
Well, yes and no. Yes and no. In most of our pay and classification studies, we always use Jefferson, Madison, Mobile.
Right, okay.
Yep. So when we looked at it, and then we did our internal pay equity, which we always look internally before we, look, it has to match internally and externally. That was the recommendation that was made by the analyst, and I reviewed the information and thought that it was acceptable.
All right, yeah, Mr. Chairman, we can currently pay this person $68,000 a year to be the assistant director of elections. And that's a very generous salary for a public servant. We can discuss waiving rules on this today. I'm opposed to increasing this salary.
And one thing I want to say on that is you're talking about the range from 45 to 68. That's on the other end of the scale. And so when you look at what you're offering, you're starting someone at the beginning end of the scale. So you're not offering them 80 to go ahead and start or 75 to start. You're looking at offering them, 57 to go ahead and start the position. So it's not as if you're paying them 68 in the beginning role.
I understand
But it just
that.
makes it more attractive in being able to cast a wide a wide array of candidates. And, you know, I think one particular candidate had some election experience, and, you know, had worked here at the election office years ago, had been director of elections for Birmingham, works in Virginia, and had interviewed for the position, but coming from there, where she's in Virginia, being an election director, coming back home to Alabama, a significant cut. And so you're looking at, you know, how do you go ahead and also be able to attract people that have some more experience, as well as a wider pool of people.
No, I certainly understand and appreciate all of that. This would be Mr. Parker's assistant,
Yes.
and I would have liked to have heard him articulate all the things you did as the director of elections. I think he
Well-
should have been the one arguing this point.
Well, it's my department, and so ultimately falls on me, and, you know, and I'm kind of the one who had been, you know, dealing with Carmen and really making the approval of saying, let's go ahead and look for the desk audit and seeing the quality of candidates. And so the success or failure of elections falls on me, and so that's why I just
does.
kind of took it over to make sure.
It
that
does,
we're
and you have a very well-paid director. And we don't have to keep talking about it, but I'm opposed to this pay raise.
Are you okay with waiving rules today?
Well, I mean, I guess am I the only one that has concerns about this increase in salary?
I've had concerns, I guess, for 2 weeks with them, and I've discussed it with them in depth for probably at least 2-3 weeks now with Daryl and both JC. But if you want to, we can also always wait and let you get more information, and then we can put it on the agenda.
I'm fine with that.
You fine with doing it, putting it on the agenda for next meeting to
I
vote?
am.
So we will not waive rules and vote on it today. We'll put it on the agenda for next meeting.
You know, and I don't feel like I'm holding this up. It's mid-May, we've got an election 2 weeks out. All of this information could have been gathered before this position was even put out for interest from the public. So, yes, I'm fine with putting it on the next
If
agenda.
y'all would get with Commissioner Walker and between now and the next meeting. So, all right. Thank y'all.
Next, we will hear from Kimberly Giffen and Gerard Jeter.
Good morning to the commissioners and to the general public. My name is Gerard Jeter. I am the owner of Alabama Fresh Incorporated, which is a consulting firm that deals specifically with procurement processes.
Will you speak into the microphone, please? I want to make sure to be able to hear you. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. My name is Gerard Jeter. I am the owner of Alabama Fresh Incorporated, which is a consulting firm that deals specifically with minority business and procurement issues. We try our best to consult to different procurement departments and different minority business contract compliance offices to set up the program, the procedures, and the processes. With that said, I'm going to allow Ms. Kimberly Griffin to introduce herself.
Good morning. I'm Kimberly Griffin, owner and CEO of DBE Consulting. We assist minorities with not only their certification, but matchmaking with primes, responding to RFPs, and also compliance aspects.
I think you all have our proposal in front of you. Basically, what we are asking of the commission today is to allow us to talk about a process for procurement, for increasing minority participation. There are several aspects that we look at. One aspect is funding. I was a part of a program that initiated a loan program for small businesses. That loan program, what it did was not only for startups, but for existing businesses, which allowed them to finance, at that time, city contracts. Now we're talking about financing county projects, which means that a lot of times the government, they need these buildings such as fire stations, police stations. So the county or the citizens are the ones who need it.
So the program that we initiated in Atlantic City, New Jersey, was to, and sometimes purchase materials for subcontractors. They were allowed to put a 5% markup on it, but this also freed up funding or other monies that they needed to operate. We can't assume that this is the only project that they have. We also gave them mobilization funding because these contractors have to meet their payroll on a weekly basis. These are the issues that we addressed because these are the systemic issues that have been a part of these types of programs for years. And without the help of financing, the program still won't work. Now, with that said, we have an extensive training program that we take the minority companies and small businesses through so that they'll understand the procurement process. And sometimes different municipalities, county, city, state, federal, they all have their own processes in how they procure goods and services. Now, we have created forms for the procurement department which capture this information. Now, back in the 80s when the minority business programs were somewhat under attack and they went through the Cauthen decision. The Cauthen decision specifically stated that you have to do good faith effort. You have to make an effort to show that you are trying to get local and minority businesses as a part of these programs. Now, that's the essence of any program, to show, put the onus on the contractors. The contractors are the ones who are supposed to identify your subcontractors for the various trades. Now, with this infrastructure bill that's been passed, there's going to be a lot of work out here. And from the last 2 years, from what I've seen in procurement, we got a lot of businesses that have gone out of business. There's a big void going on now. So from our research, it seems as though we need to initiate programs to create new businesses. Now, not only minority businesses have gone out of business, majority businesses have gone out of business, so our options have getting more and more limited. So we have to initiate these types of programs because, again, the government is going to spearhead most of your construction. And they have different criteria such as bonding, your insurance. These are types of programs that the government itself can initiate, such as what they call an OSEP program, Owner's Control Insurance Program, where the city makes sure, where the county will make sure that all contractors keep their insurance. So it's not a burden on the contractors. Now, we also created a how to do business brochure on how each individual be a part of the procurement process. We have in-depth training that's geared towards specifically Montgomery County. And we will heavily advertise and inundate the public with information about opportunities. Now, the beginning of the process starts with the budget. We have to see what your budget, where you're going to spend your money. So we target those particular contracts. We have to make sure that we gear up, get people exposed to what and how you're going to spend the money. The other part of that is to get with the procurement department, again, to initiate the different forms that captures the information. Now, in looking at the vendor registration form for the County of Montgomery, there's a section called the ethnicity part of your vendor's registration packet. From this particular form, it identifies whether you're a minority or a majority company. So, as far as our understanding, a database has already been created, but we don't know if it's been separated by category. So those are the types of things that we have to review in talking to the procurement department and the various heads of the departments.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
As you know, for 6 years now, I think, maybe 7, Montgomery County has had a women and minority business initiative, and we've had a consultant to come in and help us with that initiative. The goal of that initiative was to increase the number of women and minority-owned businesses participating in procurement and otherwise contracting with the county and the various operations that we are involved in. We have not really shown that we were really serious about this issue as for 6 years now, and we might have a database, but believe me, I haven't seen it. I don't know if anybody can tell me the level of minority participation in procurement with the county or with the contracts for that matter. The contract with the current consultant has expired. I asked this group back because they actually came to talk to us before when this contract with the current consultants expired before. And I thought that they were better qualified and offered a better plan. Because what we really need is what was just explained to us. We need somebody who has the type of experience who can go out and actually talk with the potential minority and women-owned business operators, make sure that they're in a position to make the bids properly, and the funding and everything is there. Set up a system where we can track and know where we are in these situations. The time has come for the way Montgomery County do business to reflect the population, the business population. I forget the number of minority businesses there are in Montgomery County compared to the number of minority businesses that the county, or the city for that matter, of Montgomery will do business with, or the state for that matter. But I'm only concerned with Montgomery County, and I think it's time for us to get serious and contract with an outfit, an organization. I'm recommending this outfit, this organization, to help us in that regard and to improve that and to build that type of database where we know the minority and women-owned businesses that are in the community that are capable of doing business with the county.
Thank you, Commissioner Harris. I know the contract with the current consultant has expired, and I do agree it's time for us to start through that process again like we did before, where we take RFPs and open it up for RFPs, and I'm sure y'all will be heavily involved in that and be involved in that process. But Florence, that's something we probably need to do, is start looking at that since their contract has ended.
I don't know if we need RFPs for this particular position. This is not the type of position you need to bid out or do RFPs.
No, this would be a service which is exempt from the Alabama bid law, so you don't need anything other than to request qualifications, and then you can select.
But I would like to hear, nothing against you. I mean, I've got your information. I'd like to have other information too from other consultants too, just to have a comparison. I see what you have here. I remember, I think 4 years ago or
Yes.
5 years ago,
Yes,
8
sir.
years, 6 years ago. How many years ago was it?
Last year. I mean,
Was it last year?
Well, it was before COVID.
it was
Yeah.
the
COVID
last
had
time
just
we renewed
started.
the contract.
Yeah, last time we renewed the contract was back about 4 years ago, I think, wasn't it? Was it that long ago?
No, those contracts are
Yeah,
ended.
time
No, I
passed.
think,
I'm talking about, we did the RFP and we had like 3 or 4 companies submitted.
I think that was, like he said, before COVID, and then when we renewed the contract last spring, it was done differently. It was a joint effort with the city and the county,
Yeah.
and we did not do an RFP at that time.
But I remember one time we did an RFP because
Right.
they all came
That was
in.
initially, Doug, we were
Yeah.
talking about.
We've done that twice.
Done that twice,
Yeah,
okay.
but-
I've been
but-
through one of
but-
those.
But to be clear, this contract has never been a joint contract with the city. And you can pull it out and read it if you want to. The contract with the consultants is with Montgomery County. And that has been the problem. The consultant that we have has done work for the city and everybody else, and nothing from Montgomery County. The contract that I'm talking about is a contract with Montgomery County, and if the city comes along, fine. If they want to come along, fine. But what I'm interested in is how we spend the money that Montgomery County Commission is responsible for with regards to minority and women-owned businesses. That's what I'm interested in. This joint city-county stuff has gotten us zero.
And Dan is correct. I've reviewed that contract back when. I was always under the impression that the county calls its own shots, and they should under the contract. But let me make it clear on the RF, request for proposals. You can do those in order to get materials sent in and qualifications in, but you do not have to do it because it's a service. But I looked at that contract kind of, 2 or 3 years ago, and Dan's correct on that. I can't see the advantage of the county and the city together on this particular contract. The county needs to be its own boss. That's my legal opinion and personal opinion.
Well, again, thank you for starting the process, but I would like to be able to sit down with whoever's going to be the next consultant and give them clear direction on what we want, because I'm not even clear on what I want. So I really can't, it wouldn't even be fair to you today, because I don't have clear direction. Commissioner Harris and I can get together and come up with what we want, clear direction, along with the other commissioners, and then we can move forward with that. But I'm not comfortable today, personally, making any type of decision.
I'm not asking for a decision.
But just start the process, so process has been started, so. Any other questions?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I have not had a chance to read the presentation as you have it here, and I was trying to follow you. So correct me if I'm wrong, what I'm understanding, I took 3 really main points from this. Your firm is capable of creating an awareness campaign in terms of the opportunities to do business with Montgomery County.
That's one, yes.
And then I see here where maybe you want to educate or help the business community to succeed, minority-owned business, women-owned business, by helping them to understand the prerequisite as it relates to a procurement. And then the last point that I took away is that you want to help Montgomery County meet their goals or their stated goals of doing business with women-owned business, minority-owned business.
That's correct.
Okay, I think these are very worthwhile objectives, and I certainly, our goal has always been 30%, and of course, of overall businesses, and of course, I understand the bid process when it comes to something, greater than 50,000, but we have a number of jobs, 50,000 or less, 15,000, et cetera, and I know we went down to the city and had a joint discussion with the city last week about how we want to do business with minorities, and I was a little concerned about the county, in terms of, what we presented versus what we do. So I'm certainly in favor of getting something that's going to really show that we're serious about doing business and have some measurable goals and objectives. And the only way to do it is to start doing business with the people who you claim you want to do business with. So,
Mr.
thank you.
Chairman, this is something I've been very interested in over the years, and the best source that you can get is the Montgomery Chamber of Commerce, and I have sent people to their minorities to work together because they know where the businesses are and the new ones coming in. So my suggestion would get a representative from the Montgomery Area Chamber of Commerce to meet with everybody to help. They will help, I assume. But anyway.
Any more discussion?
I have one
Yes, sir.
last thing I need to say.
Please.
I want you all to know that it's not that we're coming in from another city trying to help you. I was born and raised here in Montgomery. I grew up in Wetumpka and Montgomery. So I have a commitment to this county and to this river region, as we call it now. So I'm all in. I want you to know that I'm committed. My father started the Minority Business Development Office for the state of Alabama back in the 60s under George Wallace. So it's just ironic that I got into this consulting arena. But I've always been committed to opportunities and trying to figure out how to do business with the various, the government has always been the catalyst in this area for, I would say, investments and the creation of jobs. So by it being the capital, that's where all the funding is derived, and it also is the largest employer in this area. So with that said, I just want you to know that our firm is committed to this, and however you decide to move forward, just remember that we know our business, we have a proven track record, and we've been doing it over 40 years.
Well, thank y'all for
Mr.
coming.
Chairman, I'm sorry to keep interrupting, but I set up the minority business that you were talking about with James Harrell, who was at Alabama Development Office, and I'll be glad, free of charge, to lend whatever knowledge I have about that. But anyway, it was, I set up and did the documents that established the minority business. So anyway, for whatever that's worth.
Okay. Thank you, thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you
Ms.
all.
Jeter, thank you for coming in.
Grants Administrator Regina Walker will present item number 4. This is another waive rule item.
Good morning.
Morning.
We're just seeking your permission to submit an application. Let me start by saying there's no match. To DOJ to add a NIBIN analyst to the Crime Gun Center down at the city.
Explain that acronym for me, please.
That is National Information Ballistics Intelligence Network.
Okay.
That's where you enter shell casings collected from crime scenes into a database and projectiles. And then they may be for future use or current use if you can link them to a particular weapon to a crime. They will be collected for other counties surrounding as well.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Thank you for finding grant opportunities.
That's what we do. Thank you.
Next agenda.
Thank you.
That was needed to be a waive rule
Oh,
item.
any objection to waiving rules? I'm sorry.
Yeah, because it's due before y'all meet again.
Yeah. Any objection to waiving rules?
No objection.
Okay.
Okay, now.
Thank you.
We have 3 more visitors and some other items to consider. Next, we'll hear from Director Sherry Bradley with the Alabama Health Department Bureau of Environmental Services.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I was asked to attend to give clarification or answer any questions in reference to the septic tank systems installed in certain communities in Montgomery. The systems, the homes on Old Selma Road that have septic tank systems, they are in failure. I'm sure that the communities, neighborhoods have been maybe in front of you. I know they've been in front of the city council talking about tying the homes onto a sewer treatment plant. The septic tank system's there. They've done their work. A system lasts about anywhere from 50, we've known a little, maybe 60 years. But once the soil is clogged, it can't take anymore, it will lock up. That's why some neighborhoods are getting back up. When it rains, they're getting back up. So I'm coming before you just to say that, you know, I have visited the sites here in Montgomery, and the systems are in failure. I know that the American Rescue Fund's funding is coming available, maybe already available. Some of the neighborhoods are asking for some of that funding.
They're gonna get it.
Okay,
Yeah, they're gonna get it. That's one of the priorities that we have. And I'm gonna give you my card. If you
Okay.
call me, because I wanna sit down with you.
okay,
I've sat down, Commissioner Sankey and I sat down with David Maston. Do you know David?
I do.
I'm sure you do, in that business, and he was very educational for us, but I want to sit down and pick your brain too.
Okay,
So, can you give me a call at some point, and let you and I, and if Commissioner Sankey wants to join us, and share with us?
Yes, sir. First of all, I want to thank you for coming. I don't think that the people appreciate, again, it gets me talking, who you really are. Could you just give us a little background on what you've been doing in terms of your work and all this thing about, water and sewer and so forth? Just kind of give us a brief overview, if you don't mind.
okay. Well, I've been with the Department of Public Health for 44 years. I'm the director of the Bureau of Environmental Services. It regulates statewide on-site sewage systems. I stepped out my regulatory role when Lowndes County became a national, it gathered national attention. There was no infrastructure there, so for the past 4 years, we've been building infrastructure for the people that lived in the county. We're already installing systems. We had to raise the money. We raised right at $700,000 as a 25% match to a USDA grant. We raised that money. We're installing systems. We were a little bit, we hit a bump for a little while, but now we're going full speed ahead now. We are now getting a lot of funding, which is good, from different entities because they know of our work. I was in Houston a while back and received a call from CBSN. So we've been on CBSN, we've been on 60 Minutes, we've been on a lot of TV stations, newspapers, and it has gained momentum.
And can you talk just briefly about the Environmental Protection Agency and what their role is in terms of the emphasis on getting low-income communities and communities of color actually talking about equity in these communities that have been on septic tanks for a long time or without adequate septic tanks? Is there anything you can say about the EPA and what they're advocating on behalf of these communities?
Well, basically, the people in the rural area, okay, y'all know about black belt soil. Montgomery has black belt soil. Basically, it's clay. So what we've been seeing is just straight pipes. Flush your toilet, go straight on the ground. But I say keep an open mind because every county has straight pipes. We've already found that out. You may not just hear about it on the news, but every county has straight pipes. We have gotten the community to buy into this program. This is actually what we call a community program. They are now calling the health department. I get people every day calling the health department. I don't know how they got my private cell number, but they call my cell number saying that I got a straight pipe, I need your help. So that's what we want to see. We want to see everyone not afraid to call the health department because we're here to help. And EPA did give a grant as well to help out in the Black Belt. Funding that's coming down, $110 million, that we will be utilizing in 17 counties. So this has been great. It's been a lot of work, but it's been great. Did I hit your question?
Yes, okay. I know you got to go and so
I have a quick question,
Okay.
Commissioner, if you're finished.
Yes, please.
Isaiah?
Yes, ma'am.
Did I interrupt? Thank you for being here today, and thank you for bringing your expertise. About a dozen years ago, I spent a significant amount of time in Lowndes County with Cauthen Flowers, walking through these yards, and I was working on the federal side at that point. My question is, since you are, you're so in touch with these communities, do you feel that the residents in these communities, with regard to their septic, do they realize that septic tanks like vehicles, have to be maintained and periodically have to be replaced. I get the impression that that is something that they're not aware of, and if they're not, what are we doing to help educate individuals on how to maintain a septic tank?
That's why this program is different. We've learned our lesson. I'm not leaving it up to them to maintain it. I have put in a mechanism where their systems are maintained. That's why they have to pay a O&M cost, operation and maintenance costs, $20 a month. That money goes into an account, and when a pump needs changing out, or the septic tank system needs pumping or a filter or whatever, they don't do it, we do it.
But to my point, for these many years that they've lived in the homes, there has been very little to no maintenance of the septic system. Is that a fair statement?
That's a almost fair statement. The problem that's going on in Lowndes County,
Or any county, that's just the
Well-
most glaring example, but obviously we're dealing with Montgomery County, and I feel like that might be the case here
well,
as
the people in Montgomery County has more money than the people in Lowndes County. So what's going on in Lowndes is that they're hiring anybody to put in those systems, and they're not putting them in right.
Yeah.
Now, they know to call and get those tanks pumped out. Some don't, but the majority do. The problem is Uncle Tommy putting in a system, doesn't have a license, don't know what he's doing. And we've caught some county commissioners putting in systems that didn't supposed to be putting in systems.
Yeah.
So the problem is taking advantage of people that don't know what to do, and they save their money. One lady said, "I saved my money, I gave it to the guy, he dug a hole and he left. Didn't even put in a system." So there's a lot of taking advantage of in that county. Now, maintenance, yeah, it has to be maintained. Education part, Lee Willis sitting over there, Lee Salter. She's doing the educational part. We hold meetings, they have to sign in, we give them pamphlets. We gotta do a little bit more though, like give them things to put on the refrigerator to remind them. But as soon as I can hire a full-time secretary, that will be another component that person can call to remind each individual, this is what you need to do. But it's a little bit deeper than people think. This has been eye-opening for me.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I appreciate everything and you coming in. And I'd love for you to call me because I
I'm
want
gonna
to
call you.
pick your brain again. And I'm the only commissioner on here that has a septic tank.
I have a septic tank.
Oh, that's right, you got one. And she's the one illegally doing it, not me, so illegal septic tanks.
Lots of us have septic
Yeah.
tanks.
But thank you for coming, we're running out of time.
Mr. Chairman, I just,
Yeah.
one additional question, please, is it
Yeah,
okay?
sure, yeah.
We, particularly Madison Park, they've been, neglected for a long time. We were talking about putting them on the City of Montgomery water and sanitary sewer system. Now, is there an alternative that's just as effective as that type of system?
It is. All those homes can be tied in, and if there's some land big enough available, spray fields. Now, I know a lot of people don't like to hear about spray fields, but they work. We got some been around for a long time. And there's other things that we can sit down and talk about. I call ADM engineering section, and we talk. But yeah, there's other things that can be done.
Yes, ma'am.
Much more cost effective.
Yeah.
But still good.
That's right.
Good systems, but much more cost effective.
That's right.
Thank you so much. This is a very, very, very important
Okay,
topic.
it is. Thank y'all so much.
As long as you want to kind of move through these, it's 10
All right,
o'clock.
we've still got 2 more visitors.
Let's go ahead and get them. Can we get them, or you want to go to the formal session, or you want to?
That's-
Let's go ahead and get the 2 visitors in, so they ain't got to wait.
All right, next is Becky Saunders with Liberty Learning Foundation.
Good morning. Thank you so much for allowing me to come and speak to you today. I'm glad to be back this year. I wanted to remind you all that we currently serve 2,675 school children, all of the 2nd grade in Montgomery County schools with the Super Citizen Program, Liberty Learning Foundation. I know I come every year and tell you all about it, so I'm pretty sure you're familiar. My cheerleader this year, Dr. Jacqueline Brown-Wright, who was with me last year, could not be here today, but she did send a letter, and I can stand here and tell you all about our program, but I think it's more important to hear from someone who's actually implementing the program here in our school system in Montgomery County. She says, "Greetings, Montgomery County Commissioners. I'm Principal Jacqueline Brown-Wright, and it's with great joy that I write this letter of support for the Liberty Learning Foundation. Since 2015, I've supported the implementation of the program offered by the Liberty Learning Foundation in Central Alabama through my work as a school district administrator, curriculum specialist, literacy coach, and principal. Through the lens of my work with teachers, students, school district leaders, and principals, I learned how the Liberty Learning Foundation programs like the Super Citizen program inspires students and adults throughout entire communities to become better citizens and celebrate those who already are super citizens. This year, as principal at Brubaker Primary School, I was able to closely observe our students, teachers, and parents engage in the Liberty Learning Foundation hybrid lessons to learn social studies, standards, and civic concepts about what it means to be a citizen, as well as identify super citizens within our very own communities. From the beginning of the Liberty Learning kickoff celebration to the final awards ceremony, the Liberty Learning Foundation offers an engaging, developmental, appropriate curriculum to introduce these concepts in 2nd grade, 5th grade, 7th grade, so that students are prepared to pass the state civics test that all Alabama high school students are now required to pass in order to graduate. It is my sincere hope that you will continue supporting Liberty Learning Foundation to help shape Alabama's future citizens, our kids. Liberty Learning provides a truly unique and fun opportunity for students to learn about what it means to be a proud American citizen. Your contribution is appreciated. Like I said, we serve every 2nd grader in the city, and we'll continue. We'll be going into our 10th year here in Montgomery County. This is my home. This is very important to me that this program is sustained here in Montgomery County. You've all been very generous to support us in the past years, and I respectfully ask that you do that again this year. Last year you supported us with $25,000, and I'm respectfully asking that you do that again this year as we continue to bring this program to our schools, our teachers, our communities. It's a wonderful program. I can stand here and talk about it all day. I'm very proud of what we're doing across the state of Alabama. We currently serve over 52,000 students, 47 counties across the state, and Montgomery County does a wonderful job. We're working closely with the new superintendent, all of the teachers and administrators, and we will continue to work hard and make you proud to partner with us as you've done in the past. Do y'all have any questions?
Becky, I think we all agree it's a great program.
It is a
You
great
are
program.
soliciting help from the city council tonight, I guess? Are you?
Not tonight, but yes, I do every year.
And how about MPS? Have they helped you at all? Because they now have a lot of ARPA money that's for programs. They're going to use a lot of programs, and I think it's a viable program. Have you approached them?
We have, and we hear this from you guys, and it's a different story when we approach them. We will continue to do that, to approach them. We also work with other partners across the city, you know.
You also seek out private funds.
Oh, absolutely. We work.
I appreciate the public-private partnership that y'all.
We definitely, the first thing I do is when I go into a new community is form a community alliance, and that's where I I work with commissions across the state as well as private companies, small companies, large companies, and Alpha is a great supporter here in Montgomery County. We've got several others, but your support really goes a long way in what we're doing and what we will continue to do here in Montgomery County.
Any other questions? We'll take it under consideration again, and we'll definitely let you know.
Thank you. It's a terrific program.
Thank y'all very much.
Elisa, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your last name. Koch. From the Montgomery Lions Club has a presentation.
Good morning. I'm Elisa Koch. It's actually Koch Beck now. I'm recently married. I'm here with the Montgomery Lions Club, and I have Tanika Finney here with me and James Lovejoy. They are also members of the Montgomery Lions Club. We had a wonderful event this spring on Saturday, April 2nd. It was called Hope Floats, and it was at the Riverfront Amphitheater. And what this event was to bring awareness to the Riverfront Greenway Trail expansion. The Hope Floats event was for the entire public to join us at the riverfront and decorate a lantern that they could release on the river at sunset. It was a beautiful event. It was a way to memorialize a loved one, so people were able to come out and celebrate together with family and friends out in the open air. We had started this project or this idea, of course, during times of COVID when people were not getting out. So right when we had the event, people were getting out a little bit more frequently at that time, and so it served its purpose, and I think a lot of other events were spurred after that. But we had some very generous private and public partnerships that sponsored the event, so that that enabled us to fund the Greenway Trail, our portion of it. We have a 2-year commitment to the city of $120,000.
I'm so
Yes.
sorry. Back up just a little bit
Yeah.
and make sure we all understand. This is the trail system. This is a small piece of the bigger system that is the vision for Montgomery, correct?
Yes.
And so the Montgomery Lions Club has taken on, as other groups and organizations have done, is say, okay, we'll be in charge of this segment of the bigger trail.
Right.
Is that how it is? And then this was a
Correct.
fundraiser that y'all did to help fund, which is and really fascinating, the concept,
Yeah, so the
special
event-
needs concept of your
Right, so
portion.
the Montgomery Lions Club, we benefit site preservation. That's kind of what we're known for internationally. And we wanted to bring people down to the riverfront, and that's why we had the event. But the main event was to bring awareness to the extension of the Riverfront Greenway Trail, which is going to extend from the amphitheater all the way to the Capitol Oyster Bar. And that construction has actually already started at Shady Street, and that is in partnership with the city and a couple of other private organizations.
How much money is the Montgomery Lions Club contributing to this part of the trail?
We are
What's the
contributing
total?
$120,000, and that was our 2-year commitment to match a federal grant that the city received. And so we actually, in one event, raised the remainder of our 2-year commitment. So we were able to do that with the help of the county and the city and our public and private partnerships.
How much money did the Hope Floats
The
project
Hope
raise?
Floats raised $85,000.
And the majority of that was private funds.
The majority of that was private
That's
funds.
exceptional that a civic club is taking on such a huge project. I love this. I'm a big supporter. Thank y'all for
Well,
what you're
and this will
doing.
provide jobs for people in the city, because the construction will go out for bid this summer. And so construction will start shortly thereafter. I believe the whole project is going up in phases, and so it will probably be a 2-year project. It's a pretty big endeavor because it's going along Lafayette Street, which is where it's a pretty swampy area. So we had to come up with the funds to help design get the architectural design so that they could actually start the request for the grant, for the federal grant. So we helped the city start that project. So we're very proud of that. We're very grateful to the county commission for assisting us with the funds for this. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for believing in this project.
Thank you to the Lions Club. I know many years the Lions Club was involved with the Blue Gray and site, and then also the Montgomery Miracle League, y'all provided $55,000, I think, years ago to help build the Boundless Playground. So Montgomery Lions Club's done a lot of great work in this area, so thank y'all.
Yes, thank you. Oh, I did want to mention that this is a children's sensory trail that we're going to be doing, and the children's sensory trail there will be nothing like it in the state of Alabama. There will be sensory elements, and I believe you each have a little flyer there that describes what those elements are. And so we're benefiting a small community and bringing in people from other areas of the state, hopefully, that don't have these things provided in their community.
Thank you.
I have
Thank you.
just one question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
First off, thank you all for what you do. A lot of this, this trail that y'all are talking about takes place in County Commission District 4 in the downtown area and over in North Montgomery. I know that we funded a study, so I'm a little confused about the study that's supposed to be ongoing and what you all are currently doing. It seems like you all are kind of beyond the study phase with this particular initiative here, so can you explain that to me?
I'm sorry,
Is
I'm a
there-
little confused.
There's a study for trails.
What Will O'Connor is doing, the
Is-
full.
Are you connected with that in any way?
Yes.
Explain your connectedness to that.
I got you. Okay, so there are several organizations that are partnering together with the city to create the entire length of the trail. The reason the city wanted to utilize that area was because it's underutilized. There are older buildings, there's really nothing going on over there. They wanted to create a loop for a lot of the 5K runs and walks that happen downtown, and what's happening right now is everybody is utilizing the blocks, and they're closing off a lot of the city portions of that, and so businesses aren't able to operate. So they wanted to bring people into downtown to utilize the businesses, but to utilize a different area that isn't used, and so that's probably what the study is
Well,
for.
no, to your question, Commissioner Sankey, the study that the city and county helped fund is looking at the entirety of the Trails project, which will encircle the entire city. This has, the downtown trails have been in the works for years, but the connectivity will be taking these trails and expanding them, east, west, south, all over Montgomery County. But the downtown section has been, Cypress Trail, all that's been discussed for, 15 years at least. So
I guess I was just impressed that I thought you all were ahead of the game, so to speak, I guess.
Well, they're part of the
They are a little bit,
inception
yeah.
of this, right? This is what started it, the Cypress and all the downtown and the Riverwalk, and then bringing in the Lions Club. But the big picture is what we helped.
And I think this is supposed to look in a few years, it's supposed to look very much like the trail in Atlanta that is utilizing some of the old railroad tracks.
Yeah.
So it's been in the works for many years. So thank you.
It just has taken a while.
Thank you, James. Florence, is that it?
That's all of our visitors. We have items to consider for the future agenda.
Let's run through them quickly.
All right, item number 5 is consider an appointment of a Montgomery County Commissioner to the 2022 ACCA Legislative Committee.
I think it'll be Commissioner Harris.
I volunteer.
So that,
Thank you,
agenda.
Commissioner Harris.
I've been volunteering.
consider
appreciate
amendment
your
number
service.
2 to a contract with Bonded Filter Services to provide air filters and service for support services.
Any questions about that? The next agenda.
Consider the final pay application to Stallings and Sons for the Perry Street parking deck restoration.
Wait a minute. How many final payments we gonna make? On that part, this is parking, so didn't we make a final payment not long ago?
I think it was just presented last meeting to go on this agenda.
I guess we could check the records on that, Mr. Chairman. It seems like we did something several meetings ago.
That pay app
was
is dated May 2nd, so it was presented at the May 5th, 3rd, the first meeting in May.
I mean, it just seems that,
Wasn't there another final payment for something else, another project, Lamar? There was another final payment recently for, and I can't remember what it
something
was.
to do with that parking lot.
But bottom line, we do owe this money, and this will be our last payment.
Correct. It has been advertised for, followed all the necessary steps for final payment.
Okay. Well, let's put it on the next agenda. And we can, if there's something comes up between now and then, we'll know it.
Have we decided what we're gonna name this parking lot yet?
The Rhonda Walker parking
Oh,
lot.
I like that. I like that.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah. I'm gonna start working on the signage for the new parking lot, the Rhonda Walker parking deck.
The irony is there.
So that final pay app will go on the next agenda. Item number 8 is consider a transfer of alcoholic beverage control licensed business from Misra Enterprises to Hopewell 2022.
Next agenda.
Consider a bid award to Alabama Telephone for a high-speed data network to extend from Annex 1 to the youth facility.
Next agenda.
We have one general information item, which is a draft of the Citizens Participation Plan for Community Development Block Grant Programs. Regina Walker has worked on revising this, and so this is a draft for your review, and we would be happy to have comments and present it for final approval at the appropriate time.
And Mr. Chairman, I would certainly appreciate if my fellow commissioners would take a real serious look at that and give feedback. It's important to have a citizen participation plan when it comes to the CBDG grant monies. HUD certainly requires that, and citizen participation is a little bit more than just hearing them speak, at the meeting where we vote on how we're going to spend the money. I think we need to make an effort to get the community engaged. And we can't make them come, but at least we can have a plan that says that we're actually trying to get input, particularly from low to moderate income communities when it comes to spending this money. So there are lots of needs out there, and I believe if we engage the people, we can get some constructive feedback on how the money should be spent.
Well documented.
Thank you, sir.
That's all our items.
Do we need to take a
We
2 or 3 minute?
We need a little break to swap over to the formal session for our programming.
All right, 3-minute break, and we're back. MPO board meeting on Thursday. I'll put you down as proxy for It don't take no 2 hours.
The reason I was asking, I've been a big believer in minority business because they educate